I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today we're talking with the relatively new head of GPAC, Parke Kennedy. So stay with us for a conversation with Parke. Parke, thanks for having us out to GPAC. We appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
We're in this cool room. This is the green room. That's literally green.
This is the green room, literally green. We use it for all sorts of things, but primarily for hospitality for our performers. But it was recently remodeled. We're very excited about it. On our board, we have a wonderful, talented, and just lovely person, Ann Parker, of Ann Parker Design Studios. And so she did a little consulting for us and helped us really update the space. And we just love what she's done, especially with the artist pictures that you see on the wall there. Yeah. And of course, we have this magnificent view of the Grove. So
the view of the Grove behind you, and this is great for audio podcast, but still, the Grove is just amazing. And it's been, how long has it been? We had Paul, the former head, right before he left in the spring and went down to the river. You've been development director here. I should give some background to people for almost 9 years, and then took over in May, June of this year as executive director of Germantown Performing Arts Center. But the Grove over there, how long has the Grove been here?
So the Grove, we opened in spring of 2020 in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
And I was actually hired back in late December, early January of 2017 to come on to work on the capital campaign for the Grove.
Okay.
And so that hadn't been started yet. It was an idea, and it was time to, get rolling. And I got in, rolled up my sleeves, and wrote all the collateral and developed the branding for the project, that sort of thing. And then, went out with Paul. We primarily, first off, went out for big grants.
Sure.
So we got a big grant from the Plow Foundation and the CC Foundation, and then things kind of, snowballed after that. But
and we talked with Paul again, but it's worth going back to, because GPAC is you talk about fundraising, but it's also, fundamentally owned by the city of Germantown, right? It's a division of the city, or how does that work?
Yeah, GPAC is a division of the city of Germantown. I am a director of a department in the city of Germantown. So the city owns the building and the grounds. So now they own the Grove. But the nonprofit foundation runs the venues. Gotcha.
I guess it's not unlike, Brooks and the other entities are like that to some degree, right? They're owned by the city of Memphis, the Brookses, River Parks, where Paul Chandler went, but then managed by this nonprofit that has a 99-year lease, like in the case of the Overton Park Conservancy.
Correct. Yeah. It's in the arts world. it is a pretty unique public-private partnership in terms of the scale of it, and we're very fortunate to have it.
Yeah. Does it ever, I don't mean this in a bad way, but does it confuse people? Because they think, I pay taxes in Germantown, that forms the arts, but you're also fundraising, and you have to kind of take that extra moment to say, but we also need this and want to do that.
Sure. It definitely does. We try to celebrate and discuss that public-private partnership a lot because, like you said, taxpayers want to know, the city wants to know what we're doing, how we're adding value to the community, but also in terms of fundraising, it's an important component of the messaging, right? Because we need more support. The city provides a certain amount of support for certain things, but not to run the nonprofit, right? Yeah. Not to fund artist fees and the things that it takes to to get the job done.
I only focus on Overton Park because we just had Casey Murley, the executive director, on some months ago, and I used to be on the board there, and it was both good and bad that people understood a certain amount of public money from the city of Memphis went to the Overton Park. At the time, it was about $150,000 a year of what I think now is $1 million budget. So it's kind of like super thankful and really love that the city does that, and they do some in-kind services, but actually it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars more to do the things that Overton Park does, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. And that's why the development director role at GPAC is so important too, because we're known for bringing in acts that are that are bigger than what the venue would normally be able
Right.
to support, right? And we can't just raise ticket prices. You're not going to pay $450 to come see a show here. We're part of our mission is to keep things accessible, right? So we have to kind of try to keep our ticket prices reasonable, but continue to bring in these amazing artists. And so the offset is to do with the development department. But you're right. There is a certain amount of confusion that can happen and some push and pull. People will say, well, the city supports you, so why can't
Right.
why aren't you more responsive to perhaps what a certain entity thinks that the community wants or needs?
Yeah.
Well, the city doesn't do the programming. They leave that to the experts at the nonprofit foundation. And then there's another side of it that happens where, we want to grow and expand. We want to do more, but we only have a certain amount of staff, and we're competing with other departments in the city of Germantown
Sure.
who also need more staff. Well, are you going to give the GPAC venue department another venue manager, or would it be better to hire a couple more police officers, right? So we get into that conversation where, we cannot argue that we're saving lives. I can argue that we are improving your quality of life, that we're inspiring, educating, engaging. We're providing you with this amazing space to learn new things and to, watch people express different feelings and tell different stories. But I cannot tell you that we're saving lives.
Do you sometimes hire people through the foundation side? I mean, is that, or no?
We do, but it's not something we can really afford.
Yeah.
So right now, it's the occasional contract labor.
Gotcha. For a specific project or series or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as like a full-time salaried employee with benefits, that's just not in the cards.
It is kind of amazing. I don't mean this. I want to say this in a positive way. Is you all do punch above your weight in terms of the acts you get, and when you look at the wall of artists over here, and walking in down the hall, and just the things we've reported on and seen over the years, it is striking when you get here. It's this very intimate place, and the keeping that going will take what?
Eventually more money, because when we came out of the pandemic, and by more money, I mean more support, right? We have to have more support from the community and from the public. When we came out of the pandemic, the industry had just changed dramatically, especially in the area of technical labor. Oh. So, we bring in an amazing show and we bring it into the Highland Capitol Performance Hall. We have 850 seats filled in the theater, and you're about to have this magical experience. Well, guess what? It's not going to be magical if the audio and the visual and the sound and the lights and all of that technical aspects of it aren't equally as excellent as the performer that we paid for you to come see. And a big part of that is also to do, whether or not part of the experience that our patrons have at the end of the day while the performance is happening has a lot to do with the experience that the artist has had once they've arrived here, right? How their load-in has gone, how they've been received. Did they have what they need for their hospitality? Did the bus get parked in the right place? Is all the equipment the way they wanted it? So that back of house experience is super, super important. And we're known for providing an amazing experience. People want to come back, but it costs money. Yeah. And we do so much with our staff. I mean, we have 14 full-time employees. It's incredible.
And about how many performances a year, give or take?
So the main series, what we present, what we call GPAC Presents, which is the series that we announce typically late February, early spring, is usually somewhere between 12 and 15 main stage shows. And then we will do several rentals. So, for example, this year Ballet Memphis is coming. They're going to do 4 productions of Romeo and Juliet sometime in the spring. Iris Collective is going to do a 3-part series that we can talk about later. And so we have a GSO will come and do the Germantown Symphony Orchestra will do, I think it's like 3 shows this year on the main stage. So we have these other things that happen And then we do add-on shows, what we call add-on shows. These are the shows that we get a call from a touring manager saying, hey, so-and-so's coming through town. Do you have an opening? And typically it's something that we know we can do well with.
Right.
For example, Jeff Tweedy is coming up. David Sedaris is coming in the spring. So we're things like that. The Don Waz show, the Big Star show that we just had in the middle of July. Those are what we call add-on shows. And we do anywhere from 6 to 10 of those per year.
Yeah.
And then, of course, outside.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, and then there's the outside.
Right.
Shows.
Right. And then there's the outside, which is about 8 in the fall and 8 in the spring. This fall we'll have 9. The MSO is doing a special one-off show.
For people who listen and think, well, that doesn't sound like that many. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're setting up, you're getting it done.
Down.
You take a breath, and you're getting ready for the next one.
I actually, you can't really describe this to your listening audience, but this is everything we're doing.
Many pages. People can hear the pages.
It's like
you were
11
through.
pages. And basically what this is, it's a list of everything that we're doing. So we don't just do the outside concerts and the indoor shows. We have a robust arts education program that is rolling along all throughout the academic year. And then there's something like 6 camps in the summer, including a camp called the Creative Arts Ensemble, which is for adults with disabilities. So all of that is in and out and upside down and around.
Yeah.
And then we do a lot of, we do 6 rotating visual arts exhibitions. So those get hung. They have people coming through. They have an art, like an opening reception. Then it comes down. There are different things that go along with those. And then we also, host a lot of meetings. So if the city will use our space for meetings. Yeah. One-off, sometimes a big meeting. For example, coming up this fall, the city, what do they call it? I want to call it the City Employee Appreciation Lunch, but it's a lunch.
Sure.
It will take place here, and all these employees in the city will come. This past June, we hosted the mayor's, it was the 2nd annual Lemonade Festival. Giant festival event, all of Germantown coming. We did the Mayor's Sip and Savor event. That was an event he created for new community members. It takes a village.
Oh, yeah.
We don't just open the doors and turn on the lights, right, and just invite you in to do whatever.
Yeah.
And then especially if you're, another performing arts organization, yes, we will rent to you and we will make every accommodation for you, but you can't just come in and press our buttons, if you know what I mean. I'm not an AV person. I'm not a tech person, but I know that you can't go in there and just start pressing other people's buttons.
I think
we have all these settings and it's complicated equipment and it's older equipment, right? We've been here for 30 years.
Invest to have the acts you want are going to have an expectation, right? I mean, I think that's what the Grizzly or the FedEx Forum is up against. I remember people will remember quite a while ago now when the Orpheum had to expand backwards and create a whole new back of house to get the big Broadway touring shows. And they raised millions, what would now be tens of millions of dollars to accommodate that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be the Orpheum that we know now, right? I mean, it's the same dynamic with,
You have to deliver that experience, both for the patrons and for the artists.
We're here. Let me remind everyone, we're here with Parke Kennedy. She's executive director of GPAC, Germantown Performing Arts Center. We'll talk more about some of the upcoming shows and various things going on here. But let me take a moment to remind everyone that this is The Sidebar. I'm Eric Barnes, and The Sidebar airs here on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday, focused on the community, arts, culture, everything in between. But it's not just a radio show. It's one of many weekly podcasts and a daily podcast we now do at the Daily Memphian, including our daily morning podcast, the AM DM, with Natalie Van Gundy, who produces all these shows and is sitting next to me right now, as well as Mary Casciola and other folks, who's our editorial director, and other folks, reporters and so on, staff members, talking to Mary about some of the biggest stories every day. We also do the Memphis Grizzlies podcast and our food podcast, Sound Bites, hosted by Holly Whitfield. Soundbites also airs on WYXR every Thursday at 11, right before The Sidebar. I should also mention Behind the Headlines, the TV show we do over with the folks at WKNO every week, produced by Natalie Van Gundy, sitting next to me still even as I continue to talk. She's still sitting here. All of our podcasts, including the Behind the Headlines audio, are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can get the WYXR shows at wyxr.org or on the WYXR app. And that includes all of WYXR's shows, the talk shows, music shows, archives of all of them. All of them are available. If you're not a supporter of WYXR, do consider becoming one. They're a nonprofit, listener-supported radio. Like all public radio, just took a big hit with the end of funding from the federal government, as did WKNO. So consider supporting your local public radio stations. Also, consider becoming a paid subscriber to the Daily Memphian. Paid subscriptions pay for half of what we do. The other half is a mix of advertising, events, and donations. We are a nonprofit, and we are the largest newsroom in the region. Recently on the sidebar, we had David Luss from David Luss Gallery. We had Sam O'Brien from Bridges, and we had Casey Murley from Overton Park Conservancy. As mentioned that earlier. All those are available wherever you get your podcasts or dailymemphian.com. On Behind the Headlines, we've got coming up soon the head of the University of Memphis School of Public Health. We also have John Zena coming up in a few weeks. He's now, I want to call him the infrastructure czar for the city of Memphis, but that's not really correct. But anyway, we'll call him that for now. But John Zena, who's been at the city for quite some time, is in a new role focused a lot on city infrastructure. And then in recent weeks, we've had Doug McGowan and Ursula Mann from MLGW, also had Shondell Ryan from Downtown Memphis Commission. One more bit of housekeeping as we have coming up soon. Our small business seminar is September 18th at 3:30 at Botanic Garden. That'll include a panel of various local small business entrepreneurs and successful folks. The folks from ZoopMed, David Perdue, who started a landscaping company as a teenager and now has a major landscaping company. He'll tell that story, along with Andre Ford from Campbell and Ford Construction. You do have to get tickets to that event. You go to dailymemphian.com or the app. You choose seminars, or you can go to Eventbrite and search for Daily Memphian to get those for September 18th at 3:30 at the Botanic Garden. But we are still here with Parke Kennedy, who's executive director as of earlier this summer at GPAC. Other shows coming up. Well, before we go to other shows going up, and I do want to talk through more, when you look at the landscape, we're talking a little bit about the pressures, and I mentioned the Grizzlies, I mentioned, Orpheum some decade plus ago when they had to do the big expansion. There's a new venue going in, kind of across the street, right at the Crosstown concourse. We talked to Todd Richardson from Crosstown about that. It's a Live Nation event. All these things, it's that pressure, right, to get the acts you want to get. And again, you all get these acts. When you look at the landscape of other venues in town, how do you see that? Is it all to the good, or is it all cutthroat competition among one another for artists and acts?
Oh no, I don't see it as cutthroat competition. We have a very, I think, specific kind of niche. Here, we know what works here. We know what our patrons like, what the community is asking for. The challenge is always to have something for everyone, but also to be innovative, exciting, to be looking ahead at new things, also to be honoring, past things, artists who have had giant careers that people still want to see. So there's a place for us. Things are getting more expensive. Artists, in addition to the technical side, artist fees have gone up too. I mean, they spent a couple of years not really performing and doing things during the pandemic. They came out with a bang trying to recoup their losses. And so that's put some pressure on us too, because like I said, we don't really want to continue to increase ticket prices just because. And, when we first emerged from the pandemic, we came out in pretty good shape as far as the actual indoor venue no longer being shuttered. We had a lot of interest in other places were still trying to get back on their feet, and we were able to just kind of open up and go. And so we enjoyed some pretty good attendance, even though some folks just got used to staying at home and they have not come back out. But now everybody's back out and open and rolling, and there's a lot going on. So you just have so many more choices, which is great for the art scene. But it is hard to you can't plan on selling out every show. I'll put it that way, right? It would be folly to do so. You have to just plan for,
Well, the other part of it too, I would think, is it's a good point about, artists being home and not making money for those years and then trying to, make up for lost time, but also the pressure on artists to tour because of streaming. So take Taylor Swift out, take whoever out, take these big names that we think about out, but a lot of the acts that maybe come here, that maybe we'll go to this new Live Nation event, those kind of artists who are in that 700 to 2,000, 3,000 space. This is a national thing. It's not unique to the Memphis area. They don't make as much money on their albums the way they used to. They don't make archive CD sales the way they used to. And so there's just huge pressure. Wall Street Journal is, of all places, done amazing stories on this. Amy Mann, who's a really acclaimed singer-songwriter, and the pressure she feels to just keep touring a little bit beyond what she sounds like she wants to tour.
Yeah.
But that's how she makes her money. And that is true of so many artists. So I assume that's part of the pressure on the artist fees as well. They don't make as much money off streaming as people might think, Let's go to we got 6-7 minutes left here. So highlight some other, we're sitting here in early September. So as you go into, I guess, I don't know if it's officially your fall season or not, but what kind of things are coming up?
Yes, so we officially kick off our 31st season. The first big show on the main stage, part of the GPAC Presents 31st season, is Sutton Foster. She's a Tony Award winning actress, singer, dancer. She's best known for her leading roles in Anything Goes and Thoroughly Modern Millie. She was also in a TV show called Younger. She's set to portray Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter.
Oh, wow.
Which is
Are they doing a
up.
remake of that?
Yeah, it's in development now. So she'll be our first, our season opener, and that's September 27th. But before that, actually next week, we kick off with our first Jazz in the Box. So if you're familiar with that, it's a 6-part series of cabaret-style jazz shows on the main stage, but the performers and the audience are on the main stage as well. So those are amazingly curated shows, intimate, fun, a little bit shorter than a main stage show, a little bit less expensive, but just a wonderful experience. So the first one of those is actually next Friday, and then we just start rolling. So the first fall concert in the Grove is September 11th. Memphian Amy LaVere will be here, opening up the Grove for the fall, and then we have 7 other shows after that. And then in addition to that, an MSO show. Yeah. The Memphis Symphony Orchestra will be here on September 20th. So, and those are all kind of, those regular series. We have the center stage, and then we have the jazz, and we have our Jazz in the Box. And we also kick off our arts education programming, right? The dancers are back. The Germantown, the GPAC Youth Symphony program is back. The guitar lessons, all of those things. And then we have a new offering, which is adult tap classes, which are starting, and that's been really well received. We've got a great group signed up, excited to work on their tap skills. Those take place during the day. I think it's on Tuesdays at like 10 a.m. And then in addition to that, we also are adding a series called On Stage with Iris Collective.
Okay.
And so it's an opportunity to bring Iris Collective musicians back to the GPAC main stage. It's a little bit different format. It's chamber music style. So we'll do a 3-part series. I think the first one is in October. And soprano Karen Slack is coming. And so it'll be the same as the Jazz in the Box setup. So the performers and the patrons or the artists, the audience will be on the stage together. So very intimate, very special, one show only. And each of the shows in this series will be a culmination / celebration, if you will, of a weeks-long artist residency, community residency, put together by Iris Collective, where these artists go out and do amazing work in the community. Karen Slack, for example, is going to work with St. George's art teachers and students on a project for Rebecca's Light, in which students will create works of art depicting their interpretation of work by Florence Price, who is the very first African-American woman to have her work performed by a symphony orchestra. So there's just these kind of really cool things. The next one is in January. Vijay Gupta, who's actually a recipient of the MacArthur Genius Award.
Oh, yeah.
He is a violinist and social justice advocate. So he's going to be in town working with Hospitality Hub, which is a local organization.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's to do with homelessness. So he'll be doing that all week.
That's an amazing group.
And then he's going to come and, deliver this amazing performance. So I hope people will look into those. It's a 3-part series, and we're excited to welcome them back to the GPAC stage.
That's great. We've had a couple times the folks from Hospitality Hub on Behind the Headlines, and the work they do is just amazing, and the complicated issues of homelessness in this community and around the country. But with just a couple minutes left, how did you get into this work?
How did I get into this work? Well, I started out at Arts Memphis and worked my way up into development there, and then had an opportunity to jump over here to GPAC, like I said, beginning with this capital campaign for the Grove, which was immensely successful. And just kind of kept just ginning along, working alongside Paul Chandler for all these years, very closely with him, starting with the capital campaign work, and then just kind of, connecting and jiving to where I was able to participate in a lot of other aspects of what we do here at GPAC. And so then when Paul's departure was kind of abruptly announced in early May, there I was. So, good timing on my part, I guess. But
we're still trying to get Paul on in his new role. I don't know. That's not, I'm looking at Natalie. It's not set up, but we'll get, River Parks is it'll be interesting to hear his take on everything going on down there.
All that he plans to do and what his goals are. So, so meanwhile, we're good here. And, like I said, it's been a bit of a transition. It was unexpected, a little hard on staff, but, there's a new energy, right? There's a new leadership. Sometimes change is a good thing. And there's a new sort of bounce at everybody's step. Everybody's excited about this upcoming season. They're providing me with amazing support in my role, and we're just in this together. And, we're in a good place.
That's good. The last thing I always ask people, what was the first concert you went to?
First concert I went to? Oh my gosh, it's a long, complicated story. I have to think.
Everyone's story is complicated. It's funny. Not everyone. You're not alone in having a complicated story.
So Eric, I grew up in Brazil. My parents moved there when I was 4. And we lived in Sao Paulo for 9 years, and then we moved to Rio de Janeiro. So I was in Rio de Janeiro in high school. And I'm sure I went to concerts and things, but, not ever in the way that, like, my parents didn't give me money to go see a Grateful Dead concert. We were exposed to things culturally that we should.
In Sao Paulo?
No, or in Rio. And we saw amazing music.
I'm sure.
Danced the samba all night long and various discos. And
when did you move back?
Very early age for college.
Okay.
I could have stayed in Brazil and gone to the university there. It probably would have been easier because I was bilingual at that point. But the harder thing was to come back to the United States, where I had never actually lived that I could remember, and go to school. My dad graduated from Harvard, MBA, and my mom went to William and Mary. So, and they met in Boston. And so, I don't know, my brother was at Georgetown. I didn't want to go to Georgetown because I didn't want to babysit my brother. So I wound up at Tufts University in Boston. But it was, and not a huge university, right? At the time, it was maybe 4,000 or 5,000 undergrad. But for me, I didn't know why is the dime smaller than the nickel? It just doesn't make sense. These sorts of things just didn't I had to do my own laundry, for God's sake. So I was just, I didn't have a driver's license. In Brazil, there's no drinking age, but you can't drive until you're 18. And so I was 17 before I left, so I didn't know how to drive.
But at least you're in Boston. Boston pretty walkable, and Tufts is right downtown.
Not every, you don't race off to college with a car anyway, but eventually, you do have to figure out, how to operate one of those thingy-dingies.
So did you go, what concerts did you see in Boston?
So, I think the very first one, actually, that I ever, because I didn't get a lot of money. My dad was pretty tight. I think I got, $300 a month for books and beer money, he called it. But like, a concert was like $50, $60 to go.
Yeah.
So I went to Peter Tosh.
There you go.
Somewhere downtown Boston. It was
Very
reggae.
Cool. Yeah.
But I had friends in college who did nothing but follow the dead around,
I knew those people too. I went to school in Connecticut. I was like, that's a thing you do?
I didn't even know what that was.
I had no idea. I didn't come from Brazil. I came from Tacoma, Washington. And it was like, what in the world? These people, what did you do this summer? No, we followed the dead. I'm like, what? You lived in a car? Like, that sounds horrible.
I was the captain of the women's ultimate Frisbee team at Tufts for several years. And man, that whole going around in cars and sleeping on people's floors, I got old.
I didn't like it then. I definitely don't like it.
No. So, but I love all kinds of music. Just to go back, I was exposed to the arts at a very young age. I was a dancer forever and love all of it.
Yeah.
My parents collected art. I collect art. We just, all of it. I don't have so much a favorite genre, although my husband and I are really into the blues right now, but that's just, we also still listen to the albums that we have from when we were in college.
Parke Kennedy from GPAC, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Or thanks for letting us in. I say being here, you work here. Thanks for letting us be here in this lovely room and with the lovely view of the Grove. And but that is all the time we have this week. If you missed any of the episode, you can get the full episode online at WYXR or at the Daily Memphian, or you can download the show as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts.